Popularly known for his association with Cable's mercenary team known as Six-Pack, Garrison Kane's life has been a roller coaster since he was first introduced in the X-Force #2 comics in 1991. Created by Fabian Nicieza and Rob Liefeld, this character's life completely changed after he was severely injured on a mission with the Six-Pack and sent to become a part of the original Weapon X. Across his story arc, Kane gained cybernetic enhancements and established himself as one of the core members of this program, where he worked alongside Mesmero, Sabretooth, and Wildchild. Today, we shall peek into his story arcs and tell you everything there is to know about this formidable fighter. Now, before we go into the video, we have a small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to the channel. It's a small click for you, but for us, it means an awful lot, so thank you very much, and now let's begin. Tragic backstory of Garrison Kane. Right from his childhood, Garrison Kane found himself in some tragic situations and couldn't seem to catch a break no matter what happened. He lost both his parents at a young age, and he ended up joining Hammer and GW Bridge at the mere age of 13. He hoped to become a military man, but eventually he found himself joining Cable's mercenary group known as the Wild Pack. Kane embarked on several missions with them and even raided a Hydra laboratory, after which the team changed their name to Six-Pack. Despite being the youngest member of the team, Kane proved his usefulness on countless missions until one day the team faced Cable's clone, Strife. The face-off resulted in a lot of chaos, and Cable abandoned his team, escaping through time, while Kane dealt with several injuries and lost limbs. Eventually he signed up with the Weapon X program and got cybernetic implants to make up for the loss of his arms and legs. Marvelous story arc of Garrison Kane. After losing all 4 limbs, Kane signed up for the Weapon X program alongside Wade Wilson, who later gained a reputation as Deadpool. Meanwhile, 4 brand new cybernetic limbs were crafted onto Kane's body, and he essentially turned into a cyborg with brand new powers and superhuman abilities. He worked alongside an old Six-Pack colleague and SHIELD agent, GW Bridge, and decided to form a new team, Weapon Prime, after sensing that Cable and Strife were the same person. He was intent on defeating Cable and the X-Force among other things, but his plans were thwarted when the X-Force emerged triumphant in a face-off with Weapon Prime. Eventually Kane learned the truth about Strife, and was sent to Cable's future timeline where his cybernetic implants were further enhanced and reconstructed in liquid metal. All of these changes were done by Cable's freedom fighter group called Clan Chosen, and Kane then returned to his present and made amends with Cable. He returned to the Six-Pack and worked alongside Hammer, Grizzly and Domino to go on missions such as tracking down valuable technology, amongst other things. Over time, Kane decided to retire from his life as a mercenary and settled down in San Francisco with Vanessa Carlyle. Of course, this did not mean that he was free from the ghosts of his past, and Psycho Man and anti-mutant advocates often went after him even when he was living on the down low. Eventually Kane started working with AIM and faced Wolverine and Alpha Flight before joining Weapon X again. His implants were upgraded another time, and he now possessed the ability to duplicate the powers of any mutant. He then faced Cable and Domino in a fight against the Underground, where he realised the error of his ways and quit working for Weapon X. He used the newfound abilities he had to duplicate Madison Jeffries' powers so that he could stand a chance against him. Jeffries had been brainwashed into working for the Weapon X program's leader, Malcolm Colcord, at that time, and Kane initially managed to put up a good fight against him. However, things took a tragic turn when his body absorbed Jeffries' robot technology as well as the Weapon X technology, which overloaded him and killed him as a result. Garrison Kane's abilities and powers explained. After joining hands with Weapon X, Kane got several cybernetic enhancements that allowed him to gain a wide array of powers and abilities. To begin with, he gained superhuman strength, and his cybernetic limbs allowed him to lift up to 20 tons without blinking an eye. He could also move around the same speed as a trained human athlete, and his musculature produced fewer fatigue toxins than humans. This allowed him to have greater stamina, and he could keep going for as long as 24 hours before feeling tired. His cybernetic implants made it easy to dodge attacks, and superhuman ability made it relatively easy to withstand extreme temperatures or powerful energy blasts. Kane's reflexes, balance and bodily coordination were no joke, and he was swift and agile in his movements despite carrying the weight of numerous cybernetic implants. His implants also gave him superhuman senses, and he could spot individuals from a distance, even in the dark, and pick up on their movements through his sharp hearing. His arms were made of a highly malleable liquid metal that could morph into different weapons based on his convenience. These arms could take the form of plasma weapons, lasers and blades that were highly dangerous, and they even had a secret database of known mutant powers. By uploading a particular power, Kane could morph his arms into a weapon that could imitate this power and essentially gain a new set of abilities. For instance, Kane could choose Iceman's power and gain the ability to turn his arms into a freeze gun. Besides his cybernetic enhancements, Kane was skilled in unarmed combat and using advanced weaponry. He also had a cybernetic interface that allowed him to connect with the most advanced computer systems in the world and download their information. Kane mostly used this interface to collect data on his opponents and discover their weaknesses before facing them in combat. Interesting facts about Garrison Kane. Kane's character was a perfect combination of everything Rob Liefeld wanted in a character, and his typical characteristics were a true reflection of Liefeld's art style, ranging from his musculature, metal arm, glowing eyes, and a costume made to accommodate several weapons. Garrison Kane was the poster child for comics at the time. His costume was highly inspired by 90s fashion, and he had a high-collared vest and pocketed belts with space to store ammo, among other things. While he started as a human, his character underwent more and more upgrades with time until he turned into a cyborg. He initially got a few implants to save his life, but he later became the essence of the Weapon X program and even took the code name Weapon X for some time. Besides excelling in his career as a skilled mercenary, Kane also had a fulfilling private life with Vanessa Carlyle. While Vanessa has appeared as Deadpool's girlfriend in several films, Marvel Comics has a different story for her where she briefly dates Garrison Kane. They moved in together and attempted to live a normal life, but trouble seemed to catch up with them and they eventually decided that they weren't meant to be. Kane was also a morally grey character who couldn't stick to being the hero or villain throughout his story arc. He pledged his loyalty to Six-Pack at the start and defected to Weapon X before finally betraying them to join hands with Cable once again. He did end up dying a hero's death while working alongside Cable's underground team, and his sacrifice played a huge role in Weapon X's eventual downfall. While his loyalties kept shifting, he certainly had his heart in the right place and eventually proved his loyalty to the right cause. Alternate versions of Garrison Kane. Besides the mainstream Earth 616 universe, Garrison Kane has appeared in a couple of other realities, such as Earth 1610 and Earth 3031. On Earth 1610, he was part of the Ultimate Universe where he once again appeared as a part of Six-Pack. While on Earth 3031, he worked alongside the Weapon X team that made an appearance in Exiles. In this reality, Kane died during a battle with the Submariner, and his dead body was then returned to his home reality, so that the Six-Pack had a chance to give him the burial he deserved. Mind-blowing appearance of Kane in other forms of media. As it turns out, Garrison Kane was all set to appear in the very first Deadpool movie, where Dwayne Johnson was supposed to play the character. While Kane was part of the original Deadpool script, the film had a tight budget, and his cybernetic implants required quite a high CGI budget. Due to these constraints, Rob Liefeld had a tough call and wrote him out of the story. While they could not make things happen back then, it's a running joke that Deadpool might return to the franchise in Phase 5, and that a new Deadpool movie might be in the works. While nothing is concrete yet, it would be exciting to see Dwayne Johnson step up to play this much awaited and long overdue role. Ryan Reynolds and Dwayne Johnson are bound to have some fiery chemistry, and Johnson has also expressed his desire to play Garrison Kane alongside Reynolds' Deadpool. Marvelous verdict. To wrap things up, Garrison Kane's presence is certainly an intriguing addition to Weapon X, especially since he quite unexpectedly found himself joining the program. From his involvement with Six-Pack to working for Weapon X, he has had a roller coaster of a journey as he falters in his judgment and eventually redeems himself by helping Cable take Weapon X down. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't done so already. Otherwise, have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.